You are listening to the YouTube World Service. The next program is Real Voices from the Past, produced and presented by Hakon. Hello, this is Hakon, and today I've got a new little video series I'm making, or I'm intending to make. So there are no guarantees there will be more than one episode, but I will do my best. Recently I bought a synthesizer, which I have mentioned in another video, but while making music with it and recording it, I got the idea I wanted to make a more low fidelity sound. And inspired by some YouTube channels, in particular Heinbach, whom I can recommend. I'll put a link down in the description. He has been using dictaphones, reel-to-reel recorders, tape recorders to make different textures in his music. Of course, his music is mainly ambient, mine is a little bit more, well, different things. But nevertheless, I thought that was a really good idea. So I bought a few dictaphones. I bought a regular cassette recorder, and I wasn't intending to buy this. I happened to get a very good deal locally on a reel-to-reel recorder, which, like this one. This is a Lafayette radio recorder from, well, it's an American brand from New York. This particular one is made in Japan, and it probably is from around 1965. I'll just open this and get that lid out of the way. So what is a reel-to-reel recorder? Of course, most people are familiar with cassette tape. Inside a cassette tape you have two reels, and the tape goes from one reel to the other reel. And this is an evolution of this, where you have a reel and of course this should have had a leader. This is actually just the tape itself that needs to be wound onto the other spool. So let's see, move it back a little bit. Although the beginning here is really crinkly anyway, so it doesn't matter so much. So we do like that, and there we are. So now it's ready to play. So the tape heads, I'll just take this off to show you. Oh. So the erase head is here, the tape head is here, that's for recording and playback, and the all-important capstan is here, and you can take the pin off it and you can put this one on, this one here, to make it go faster. So this has got two different speeds, 3 3/4 inches per second or 7.5 inches per second, and in comparison our regular cassette tape is 1 7/8 inches per second. So it's even slower and therefore less detailed recording. And also the tape is 1/8 of an inch, this tape is 1/4 inch. This is called a 4-track recorder. This is it's 4-track, which is the most common standard format for reel-to-reel, but it's a mono recorder. It can't play back in stereo, it only records in mono. What usually happens is you have 4 tracks divided vertically on the tape, and when you record you can select, on only playback, you select which tracks are recorded to here, and at the end of the tape you swap the reels over, you basically turn the tape around and it can record to the other two tracks, or to the other track, and going in the other direction. So let's just see how this works. When I bought this, it had recently been, had a light service. I do believe that somebody had changed the valves, the vacuum tubes inside. And I just looked that up a few days ago, and I found that actually replacing the valves inside here would cost me almost the same as I paid for the whole thing, and it also came with a bit of tape, so that was quite a good deal. So plug in, check that the power is indeed on, and it also, well, I'll just show this while I'm at it, if I can get it out. It also came with a fully functional microphone, which is the one I'm using for the recording in the intro. I'm saying that now, but I haven't finished the intro, so if you have no idea what I'm talking about, if there was no intro to this video, there might be some for the next one, but that's the microphone. It works really well. So there you go, this is it. Right, to switch it on, we used the tone control originally, and it makes that lovely whirring sound, which is, you can see the capstan going around there. Should probably put this back. There we go. And got volume control. Slightly noisy, might need a bit of contact spray on the pot there later. Joystick control for fast forward, rewind, record and play. To record, one pulls down this button, pushes down, and it's ready to record. Just playing, you just push this down, and to pause using this lever. So to arm it for recording, you would push down like this, and it will be ready. I'm not going to record over this right away, because this is my first tape, the one that came with the machine. Oh, and also I got a user manual, very useful. 4-track, 2-speed, 2-way, 7-inch tape recorder. That's the maximum size of the reels that can be used on this machine. I believe these are about 5 inches now, and I haven't measured them. There are different standards. This one is 5 inches, and 7 is the next size up, which comes in this sort of box. Right, let's just see what we got here. So I'll press play, or rather, no pressing play. That's that happens later. Okay.
Je voudrais trouver les Anglais.
Mais ils ne sont pas là. Ils sont à Chinon.
Et pour aller à Chinon,
Vous prenez la première route à gauche et vous continuez tout droit.
c'est très simple.
Les Anglais ne sont plus à Reims. Ils sont à Chinon. Et pour aller à Chinon, c'est très simple. Well, perhaps it's not as simple as all that.
And there you go. This is actually part of a BBC French language course from the early 70s called Ensemble, I believe. And this is part of episode 8, where Jeanne d'Arc is, or Joan of Arc, is somewhere and asking for directions, I believe. Yeah, it's... I think it's quite funny. I think it's actually from TV. And this was probably recorded from TV with a microphone, because the recording is quite muffled. So it sounds like somebody had a microphone close to the TV speaker. So there we go, that's how it works. And of course, if you play the whole thing, the whole side, you move it across. Oh, I can show you that. So now we are... Okay. So this is track 1-4, it says. So this is track 1.
Traverser. You cross.
The end of that day,
And that's track 2.
anyway. But I think windows are one of the worst jobs because that requires a lot of elbow work and shoulders, you know, that you...
And as you can hear, it's got a bit of a whining sound here, which means there's a drive belt that's maybe not quite right. Or maybe some lubrication is needed. So I will do that at some point. The second track here, which is what you heard when I switched the track knob, is some kind of yoga program. I presume that is still BBC. Yeah, I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but yeah, that's... Yeah, there's something to do with this drive mechanism where maybe the clutch isn't engaged exactly the right way. Anyway, at some point I will have to do maintenance on this, and I probably will make a video about it. So, what else to show? Right, so connections are on the side here. And even though this is a mono recorder with a mono speaker, it does have a stereo output, which is usually the one I use if I want to record a tape. I can use a stereo output and record 2 tracks at the same time, so I only have to play the tape all the way through one side, turn it around, play the other side, and I've recorded the whole tape. The speaker output, and the stereo output is straight from the tape head without any amplification. The speaker output is after the valve amp inside. There's a microphone input, radio input, which I presume means that they thought people would be recording from the radio rather than any other source, so they call it radio and not line. And there's a monitor input as well, which I haven't tried, but I presume that means you can monitor the signal in some way while recording, or before recording. When the microphone and the radio sockets are used when something is plugged in, the volume control becomes the recording volume rather than the playback volume. And on the other side, it's got a nice handle, making it a nice light, well, relatively light and semi-portable, draggable little device. Of course, there were lots of reel-to-reel tape recorders that were way smaller than this and much lighter, and normally they would only take even smaller reels as well and be more compact, so they can make a one about this kind of size and maybe this thick. Which is possible. And speaking of possible, it's one of the ones you would see in some episodes of Mission Impossible. Is actually a tape recorder that's a smaller portable one. Right, so there you have it. That's a reel-to-reel recorder, and I did not get this to make a high fidelity sound at all. This is meant to be lo-fi, and all this noisy things you get from it, that's just part of the charm, I think. Right, so that's it for now, and I'll probably make an episode about oiling this because it definitely needs lubrication and some tiny adjustments on the take-up reel chuck, I think. So yeah, thank you for watching and goodbye for now.